Curious what types of trees to plant here in Kansas or in the Midwest? Stick around as I answer that in the question of the day. What's going on, guys? Matt in the hat, Matt Johnson Real Estate, powered by Keller Williams Diamond Partners. You are tuned in to the hot list. I come to y'all Monday through Friday each and every week, and we hang out and talk real estate. We talk about properties new to the market, been on the market and had a recent price reduction, as well as something that is unique about the property I want to share with you guys and want to make sure that you know that way it stands out. I also answer a question of the day that is submitted by a viewer or listener of the podcast, and of course recognize and thank a sponsor of the week each and every single week. And to figure out how you can get your question answered or become a sponsor of the week, stick around to the end of the episode. As you guys are jumping in here, if you're checking this out on Facebook, make sure you comment either hashtag live or hashtag replay, depending on how you're watching it. So I know if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, thank you for stopping by. Check it out. Hit that thumbs up button. Doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on bell notifications. So as I bring you new videos, you can come check them out. All right, property we are talking about today is 1901 Flint Road right here in Emporia. It is a 3-bed, 2-bath. Does have an attached 2-car garage as well as a detached garage, which I'm going to get into here in just a second. It has 1,457 square feet of finished space, currently listed at $219,900, courtesy of Eck Real Estate. So, this, like I said, it does have a double attached garage, and then it has a 2-story detached garage with a loft area in the top and then place for vehicle in the lower level. Plus, there is an elevator in the detached garage, detached shop. How badass is that to have an elevator in there? That's pretty cool. Also, what is unique about this house that's going to separate it from some others on the market right now, it has a heated breezeway. So that is very cool, especially this time of year. You know, you want to sit outside and just kind of enjoy the weather. Maybe it's a little bit cooler, but you don't want to start a fire. Breezeway, heat, got you covered. Awesome and ready to roll. It does have a wood burning fireplace in the house, as well as a wood stove in the basement. It's got a full unfinished basement, and the yard is fenced. If you have any questions about the property, all you got to do is just shoot me a message here on Facebook, or if you're checking it out after clicking the link in the website or in the description to take you to the website, all you got to do is just contact me directly from there. Before I get on to the question of the day, I do want to recognize and thank our sponsor of the week this week, and that is the Copper Top. I spoke with Jason face-to-face, messaging, email, just to kind of sit down with him and get some more information, because I know what I know about the Copper Top. Him as the owner operator can go a lot more in depth, and I'm so glad that he allowed me to do this, because I was thinking as just, you know, a bar, entertainment, or event area, they were just, you know, drink servers, drink mixers. That is absolutely not the case. So they do more than just serve drinks. They are responsible for the setup, tear down, they clean up before and after every event, and the staff is there to make sure that everything runs smoothly and the clients can just kick back and enjoy themselves, and, you know, let that stress of things just running or a little hiccup comes along. All you got to do is just sit back, and the staff at the Copper Top will get it done. That is very cool, very unique about this place. So you or any of your members of your party don't have to do any of the setup, tear down, or any type of major cleanup. That is huge for a lot of people. So make sure that you check them out. I've included Jason's contact information in the description here, but if you guys have any questions or want to book an event, all you got to do is just give Jason a call at 620-208-8671, and he'll get you some availability and get you rolling. If you're interested in being a sponsor of the week, all you got to do is shoot me a message through Facebook or jump on my website, emporiahomes.kw.com, and contact me directly through there. And I would be happy to either jump on the phone with you or we can message back and forth, see if you are a good fit for being a sponsor of the week. All right, question of the day. I love this part. This is my favorite part of the show, and I'm curious to know if you guys like this part more, just answering the question and getting into the topics, or if you like the talking about and listening to the properties that are up for sale. So let me know in the comments wherever you're listening to this at. I would be curious and would absolutely love to know. So question of the day: what type of tree or trees should I plant in Kansas? I kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago with fall being a great time to plant. I just briefly mentioned trees, didn't go into a whole lot of detail as we covered some other items in that discussion. Because this gives you an idea to prepare for the fall as well as the spring. And somebody asked me specifically about trees. I'm happy to answer. Just like anything else, I'm happy to share my knowledge, plus do a little research and legwork as well to get some more specific answers. We all know that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Next best time is today. That's no secret, and especially those here in the Midwest that are used to wind or storms. Those trees, especially in summertime, those trees absolutely help with the shade. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper today as far as a little more about planting trees specifically and what type of trees. Now, I will preface this: the type of trees that I'm talking about are going to be better in the Midwest, generally here in Kansas. Some of these that I will mention will be Midwest, but I would recommend talking to an arborologist or your local nursery landscaper and just kind of get with them and see what they would recommend based on where you live. As fall approaches, people really look for ways to prepare their yards for either the immediate winter or the coming spring, like we've talked about, throwing some grass seed fertilizer down on your yard, as well as planting different types of flowers, plants, gardens, and of course trees, so they're ready to go. They get established and ready to go for the springtime. And of course, one way we've talked about it and recommended is planting trees in your yard in the fall versus the spring. Now, if you're unsure whether this is the right time to plant a tree or unsure which trees to plant, no worry, I got you covered. There's a variety of trees that you can. I'm just going to cover a handful of them today. And when properly planted, most of the trees will do absolutely fine during the wintertime and thrive come spring. So what we're going to talk about today are 5 things you need to know about planting trees in the fall. Number 1, why plant in the fall? Just a quick reminder, because we kind of covered this in a previous episode. Not only will most trees do well when you plant them in the fall, more often than not, fall may be better than the rest of the time of the year because the weather tends to be a little bit milder, and less likelihood of drought or extreme highs. Because with either one of those could lead to damaging the trees before they get their roots established. Know when the cold weather is set in. Like I mentioned before, depending on where you live, check out the Old Farmer's Almanac and get an idea of when that typical first freeze is, and back it up 6, 8, maybe even 10 weeks, because you want to add plenty of time for a dormant period before that freeze really starts to set in. And have the trees already established and ready to go come springtime is, like I mentioned, going to really allow them to thrive and not have to work so hard as the temperatures warm up. Number two, which trees to plant. And this was the specific question asked. There are some trees that may not handle a fall transplant very well. On the other side, most actually do very, very well when planted in the fall. Most important, making sure when you're planting the trees that you excuse me, that grow well, know what trees are going to grow the best in your part of the country. So wherever you're listening to this, I know I have listeners all throughout the US, Canada, Mexico, even overseas. Wherever you are listening, I would recommend finding what works best and what grows best in your area. Take into consideration the cold hardness of the trees, because some of them are going to be harder trees than others. And especially keep that in mind if November, if not October, tends to bring some freezing temperatures your way. I would advise again local nurseries, landscapers, agricultural agents, extension offices, whatever you have near you, I would recommend talking to them. But here in depending on who you ask, we are north central or northeast Kansas. Uh, it's weird, but because we're kind of centrally located, I didn't create the map, so whatever. They didn't ask me. So the trees that really work and thrive the best here, that are going to be the most hardy, are going to be a variety of oak trees like the bur oak, red oak, post oak, basswood, hackberry, bald cypress. Those are going to be your hardy trees. You're going to have some other ones that a lot of people like, uh, like the like the dogwood and the I'm not going to pronounce this right. So it's a hemp, not a herringbone. Uh, I don't know. I'll put it in the comments. But with that, it's very difficult because a lot of people want to plant some maple trees. Maple trees are awesome, and they do have some color when it comes fall time. However, they are not a very hardy tree like walnut trees. Same thing. So during storms, high winds, their limbs are more likely to come down. And if you don't believe me, I can take pictures of my fence to prove it. Because both my neighbors have maple trees and they're always losing limbs. So while it's going to be up to you if you want some type of flowering color tree that's going to be a softer wood, or if you're going to want something that's going to be a little bit hardier, weather the storms, like elms, oaks, hackberry, or even the bald cypress. Those are just a few examples. Like I said, just depending on where you live, I would really recommend reaching out to somebody that is a local expert. They can tell you for sure which ones are going to be the most hardy, which are going to be the most colorful, which are going to be drought resistant, and which ones are really going to thrive better than others, as well as which ones are best to plant in the fall time. And speaking of planting, number 3 on the list is going to be proper planting technique. So before planting, stop to find out the specific needs of the tree that you're looking at planting. I have a autumn blaze out front. The reason I bought that one is because it's fairly hardy and it grows quickly. So in the 4 years that I've had it out front in my yard, it has grown about 14 to 16 feet. So that's specifically why I chose that one. So it'll eventually shade the house. Generally, you have to dig a hole that's at least as deep as the tree's root ball. You may have to dig 3 to 5 times the width of the root ball to ensure that there's enough loose dirt. I had to do that with my tree out front just because of the type of tree that it was. Caution, before you dig, whatever it is where you live, here it's 811. Call 811 before you dig. My yard is kind of unique. Quit. My yard is kind of unique because I have not just utilities out front, but I have 4 different types of utilities in my backyard as well. So before I even consider doing anything, I have to have them come check, spray, and mark where everything is and which direction it runs, so I know where is safe to dig. So after you got the call, you got your hole dug, what you want to do is place the roots in the center of the hole, fill in with some loose dirt, whether it's potting soil, um, gardening soil, whatever it is, to help get some more nutrients in there as well, and then gently tamp some dirt on there and throw some water on it. Now, when you water, the ground is going to settle a little bit, so add some additional soil or potting soil, whatever it's just regular dirt, potting soil, and then because it's going to be getting colder each year or each week, add some mulch. Add some mulch over the top of the tree. This helps keep the soil moist as well as warm. And make sure that you don't crowd the mulch too close to the trunk of the tree just yet. You want it back off that trunk a little bit so it can breathe, as well as get some air, some moisture down through there. And just continue to water a few times every week, and reference your tree's specific water needs, because a maple tree will have different needs than an oak or a hackberry. So just whatever your tree's recommendations are or specific needs are, just refer to that. And number 4 is timing your fall planting. Even though fall is a good time to plant, you still got to make sure the timing is right. Otherwise, you may end up with some problems come wintertime. Schedule your planting earlier in the fall, kind of like we've talked about and discussed before, rather than later. But you want to wait for that summer heat to truly break, because August in Kansas, not ideal for planting a tree. Now, usually the 3rd, 4th week in September, 1st week October, really great time to start planting. And choose the time at least a few weeks before the freezing temperature. Like I said, look up that Farmer's Almanac. Some places will say you can get away with as little as 6. Some say 8. Some say 10. Just based on where you live, use that as a reference point. Whatever that freeze date is, and I would recommend at least 8 weeks. And the air temperature when you're starting to plant should be cool, but not cold, because you want to keep and make sure that the soil temperatures are above and stay above 50 degrees when you're looking at planting. And finally, number 5, prepping for winter. Once a tree seems like the roots really seem to be established, kind of, the soil's looking better, tree's a little sturdier, more stable, start thinking about how you're going to protect it come wintertime. Most years, after a tree is really established, the roots are really going to drop and sink in, or it's going to have grass covered around it. However, that first year, maybe even that second year, I would recommend putting some mulch down. This is really going to be the main defense that tree is going to have against any type of elements. So before the temperatures really start to drop, add some extra mulch or some extra layers right above the the roots, to not only help offset some settling, just keep it warm. And now is when you want to put it a little closer to that trunk. And again, this is going to help add some additional protection. Now, if you have some hard freezes, depending on where you live, there would be some, and there are some arborologists, I think that's the right word, uh, nurseries as well as landscapers that do recommend throwing some type of sheeting or covering over the trees during early frost. So if you get some frost sooner than expected, protect that tree, help insulate not just the roots but the entire tree itself. Just throw some sheets over it to help protect it until it has a little more time to get itself established for the first few weeks and first few months that it's planted. So that's it. That's what I got for you guys today. So if you guys have a question that you would like answered on the show or answered in general, all you got to do, shoot me a message here through Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're listening to this online, or you can get a hold of me through my website and just let me know what your question is. I would be happy to answer it. So thank you for watching the Hot List today with Matt in the Hat, Matt Johnson Real Estate, powered by Keller Williams Diamond Partners. I do this because your experience matters and should be trusted with a veteran. Y'all have an awesome day, and I'll see you back in here tomorrow.